prepared to fight an election on this budget.
I'm always prepared to stand up for the right thing.
My name is Nico Lagan, and I'm too conservative for the conservatives. My co-host Rob Ambrose, not woke enough for the liberals. We are the Political Orphans. Tonight we're going to speak about the latest Supreme Court decision to remove the mandatory minimum for one of the most heinous crime imaginable, and the latest on the possibility of a Christmas election. Make sure to like this video, but as always, we want to hear from you. So leave us a comment in the comment section, or better yet, join the conversation live, 8 p.m. Sunday to Thursday, right here on YouTube. What's going on, man?
What's up, brother? That was a weekend. Feels like forever. How did the
2 days?
Go? Yeah, 2 days, right? How did the mashup go?
Good, man. Well, see, even Pam agreed. Great mashup last night, Nico. Shame I missed it live. It was good, man, because it was a bunch of guys that are more prone to conspiracy theories that talk about globalism, and it made for a very, very easy conversation because I was among my people.
Yes, yeah.
I wasn't, here I'm trying to be more controlled I try to find common ground. On that on the mashup, I'm not trying to find.
You can just let go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we can talk about what we really, really think about. And
tell me what you really think.
Yeah, tell us what you really think.
Yeah.
But one of the questions that I had on the fly, because we had some of the biggest, like some of the most known content creators in Canada, right? People that have been doing it forever. And one of the questions, we all look at Pierre Poilievre as kind of a joke, like a controlled opposition. And the question I had for them is along the lines of, do you think that all the major content creators that have grown exponentially over the past 10 months, since a bit prior to the last election, they all seem like there's a few accounts out there that we can think of that has exponentially grown.
Yep.
As they are walking the political line, right? They are firmly behind Pierre Poilievre and will not question what he does.
Yep.
So, the question that I had for them, are they controlled opposition? Like, are they controlled? Are they manipulated? Or do they actually believe what they're saying? And I don't know what the answer to that is. I've spoken to most of them, but I don't know them personally. But it's interesting.
Well, I mean,
to see.
Mark Nixon's one of them.
Yeah,
we've had him on the show. I think, I don't know. I don't know what they actually believe. I think they maybe convince themselves of it, but I think it's definitely the fact that they are, so friendly with Poilievre is why they've seen this exponential growth in their numbers. There's definitely a symbiotic relationship going on there. They give favorable coverage to Poilievre, and they get in return, they get access, and that gives them numbers. And I'm sure that they're also getting, pushed behind the scenes to, by corporate conservative kingmakers, I guess you could say, people who decide who, it's kind of in the States, you see it on the other side. You see that Harry Sisson guy, that he was working with Democrats behind the scenes and he was boosted, right? Same kind of things going on, I think.
I don't know what I did with the video. I didn't think I would show it, but let me try to bring it up through my YouTube history, right? Normally I'm capable of seeing what I've looked at. It was just a very, very interesting video from a guy that I'm aware of. I've never interacted with him. I reached out to him to come on the show. He never got back to me. But it was basically a video of Pierre Poilievre admitting that he looks at YouTube literally every night to kind of see what's being said about him. So you know what we've been saying, that they're but let me just see if I can find. Oh, there you go. I got it right here.
It's funny because if there's some truth to that, then shows like ours is far more helpful to Poilievre than these other guys. But he's not. He's never going to promote us. He's never going to promote our show.
No. We all know that he's never.
We're never going to be
to...
the beneficiaries of that boost.
No, and you know what? At the end of the day, I'm 100% okay with this because my values are more important than trying to be liked by Pierre Poilievre. I don't need his favors. At the end of the day, I really couldn't care less about his favors. I don't need them. I just found it to be interesting. And here's the video. Actually, I was able to find it. So let's just check this video. Tell me what you think when you look at this. And this video, I was not looking for it. I was literally just doing some research for tonight's show, and that was one of the recommended videos I should watch. Okay. So I know the kid. His name is Damani, Dimanii, and I think I follow him on YouTube. I approached him to be on the show because he seemed to be pretty cool. But just listen to this and tell me what's your general impression of this whole thing.
A lot of people actually thought it was AI.
It wasn't AI.
All the haters out there that didn't believe it.
It wasn't AI.
He actually called me that day.
I did call him. I've been watching his stuff, and I go, right before I go to bed, I read, and then the last thing I do is I do a quick search through YouTube, and I was bumping into his stuff. He was walking around streets asking people questions in Hamilton and where else?
Everywhere. I was everywhere.
You were traveling around,
I was everywhere.
asking people questions, and I found it very informative because I was getting a real street view of what people thought. And so I enjoyed it, and I tracked down his number, gave him a call out of nowhere, and I can tell you it wasn't AI.
Good morning.
It wasn't AI.
Hey,
right on. Thanks, buddy. Keep up your great work.
Much.
Many blessings. Better days coming.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
The plot thickens. I mean, we've said that, and I think the audience, and even us, I think we kind of say it half jokingly, tongue in cheek. I think the audience thinks we're maybe patting ourselves on the back, but I mean, that certainly makes it less crazy, right? Because if you're going around YouTube looking for what people are saying about Poilievre, and to his credit, in that moment, he sounds like he's looking for people who are criticizing him, not necessarily people that are happy to glaze him,
rip into him.
No, people who are going to pump his tires. Those are the ones that he promotes.
Oh yeah.
But it sounds like he's looking for people ripping into him to actually get his feedback from. And I mean, we have a show on YouTube where we regularly criticize him and tear him to shreds. And so if he spends time on YouTube looking for people criticizing him, it's not that crazy that he'd go on the show. It is funny. I mean, if you're a longtime viewer of the show, you will know that very often when we say, Poilievre, man, you got to do this thing, a week or so later, he's doing that thing. I don't know. I just called it.
And that was the point of the video. I just thought it was funny because he's kind of confirming what we've been saying, that he's paying attention. Obviously, we're never going to be the recipient of that call. But, I found it interesting that he admitted that he is looking.
Well, if he's watching, looking on YouTube, for people who, we've been doing this show a long time now, almost a year. It wouldn't be that crazy that the algorithm would steer him into our show once or twice. I've
had people with massive audience reach me. We've had people we were reporting on their family contact us through the comment section. They found us, talked about us. There's the guy that got canned from CTV News that reached out to
Travis,
me. Exactly. Can't remember his name, but he reached out to me afterwards saying, "Hey,
can't pronounce it."
Hey, great show, but this is not what really happened. CBC Light. So I've had this happen to me multiple times. So I'm not surprised that he's doing it, but he admitted to it. And that's the thing. It kind of thickens the plot that they're probably in bed with him, right? Mm-hmm. If they reach out to a guy that has about 30,000 followers, imagine a guy like me that has 200. What he would actually do if he liked me.
Yeah, I think there's a quid pro quo going on there. I think more than just that this is organic Poilievre love. I think it's more. It might not even be explicitly said, okay, you give me favorable coverage and I'll give you access, but it doesn't need to be said, right?
No, you don't even need to. If you get, as a content creator,
It's implied.
just getting a guy that is that known as Pierre Poilievre wanting to record stuff with you, you'll walk the party line. Because that kid is a kid, right? He's like early 20s. Obviously, he's gonna walk that party
Sure
line.
he
He doesn't
is.
need
Of
to
course
get
he is.
he doesn't need to
No.
get paid in
No.
order to do it. That's not what I'm implying. And I'm not saying that what he's saying is wrong. All I'm saying is trying to show people that it doesn't matter if you're on the right, it doesn't matter if you're on the left, the game's the same.
Oh, sure.
If they need, social media is the new media. They need content creators on their side in order to show what they stand for. And again, very interesting that after we've been telling him for 8 months now that he should do more of those interviews, he should do more of those talks with people.
then he does.
Now he's finally
What are the other?
So-
what are some of the other things? We should have kept a list. There's at least 3 or 4 or 5 things that we.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, even like the ostrich thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't. Again, maybe we were just early to the party, but I didn't hear anyone talking about that when we started talking about it.
I tend to be that's one thing. I do a lot of research and I tend to be 1 or 2 days before most people. Like a lot of my content starts trending 1 or 2 days after I posted it because I tend to look at what's coming. But
Well,
at
yeah,
the same time,
that's how you want to be. You want to try to do that. And if you can do that consistently, I mean, you're going to be in a good place.
I just found it interesting that what we believed is probably true. And good for him, right? I'll give him credit where credit is due, but at the same time, man, I wish he had the balls to do a show like ours. I wish. No, but I just wish. I don't understand. If I was in his place, I would welcome the opportunity to get challenged.
Yeah. These I know I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point, but this Carney is really pushing hard for this election. I think Poilievre needs to like pump the brakes on that because they're going to try to pin this on conservatives as much as possible. And I saw some polling lately. It actually suggests that the Libs might get a majority. And again, it's because the boomers are fucking us again. I saw a just today on X a breakdown of age groups, and same thing as we saw back in April. Every age group was like 42 to 45% conservative, maybe 30 to 35% liberal, and then spread between the rest. Then you have the boomers that are 51% liberal, like 25% conservative, and then spread throughout the rest.
But you can't really be that surprised at the end of the day because who answers those polls? I've never been polled. I've never been polled for one of those things. I don't pick up my number. I don't pick up my phone.
I don't pick up a fucking phone number. I don't know. Nobody
No.
under 60 does. But old
No.
people, they still have landlines, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
And it
like
happens. It happens at my mother-in-law
landline calls
because she
and-
still have a landline.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
guess what? She does get some of those calls too. So it's that
I mean,
they're not polling.
There is that.
Yeah.
That's definitely. I think that's one of the reasons why polling has been skewed past couple of years. Now it was pretty accurate for in the Canadian election in April. I don't know if the results matched the polling, but it was broadly accurate in that the polling said Carney was going to win, and he won.
I just think that I just wonder if more people are going to show up because the boomers got nothing else to do than to go vote.
Yeah.
So they show up to the polls. You know, I would love to see the exit polls showing what's the percentage of people that actually vote. And I guarantee you the people in the middle that have families, that are working, they're busy as shit. They're the people that show up the least, yet they're the most affected
Sure. Yeah.
by this.
Young
And I
families.
think they're also the ones that are the most disillusioned by the system. They're very exhausted by what's going on. And you know, let's start with this since you brought it up. I'm just going to replay the video of the intro because it's super short. But you know, Mark Carney was asked if he wants an election and just his reaction. Then I'm going to show you the reaction of Pierre Poilievre. I think the video's from yesterday. Okay. So you'll see them. No, actually, I think it was from today. So the next video I'm going to show you is pulled from one of the lives that he's done today.
Are you prepared to fight an election on this question?
I'm always prepared to stand up for the right thing.
He's just dying for an election.
it's just his reaction. He didn't even. He started laughing for about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Took a 2 seconds break and said, "I'm ready to fight for the right thing." So
the Cheshire cat grin.
he's dying for an election.
Dying for it.
He is dying for
it.
it.
Would be just so great. Just such a massive own goal. If this election, he actually gets this election he's dying for, and then he loses it.
So it's with interest that
So this is the, we often talk, at least I often talk about how Pierre Poilievre's not a real leader. Like, he's not confident. He's not that killer instinct type of guy. He's not very confident. You can see that he's not that confident in himself. And these two videos are the perfect example. Mark Carney on the spot starts laughing. That's a reaction that says a lot. As in, you basically just exposed what I'm trying to do. Good for you, asshole. Like, it's
Okay, let's see.
yeah, I like it. Now we have Pierre Poilievre. You'll see, even during his speech, he keeps on messing up. And instead of continuing, he restarts his sentence. It's very amateurish the way he's doing it.
Why? Because everything he says is
Bullet
memorized.
points.
It's memorized text.
Yep.
And it's like in his mind, he's going through it, and then when he messes up, he's like, "Oh shit, I forgot. I got to put that line in there first." And then he goes back.
Yep.
And that's the vibe I always get when I hear this guy speak, is that he's memorizing his lines like an actor, and sometimes he pauses in a way that doesn't feel like he's like searching his mind to come up with what to say, but he's searching his mind to remember what the lines were next. And that's always
He's not
the vibe.
freestyle. He's not freestyling.
No.
So just listen to love or hate both Carney or Pierre Poilievre. After those two videos, which one is the most confident of them all, right?
So it's with interest that I read the headline in CTV today, and I quote it. Carney signals he's prepared to fight an election over next week's budget.
That's
Why
the video
does
I just
Prime
showed.
Minister, this costly prime minister, want a costly election now?
Oh yes,
Why?
the costly speech.
Well, the answer is Mark Carney needs a costly election on
You
his
see what I mean?
costly budget
Yep.
to distract
Yeah,
from
like,
because he
listen,
said, "Oh, I said budget first.
but
I got to go
Mark
back and say
Carney
election and then budget."
Like,
needs a costly
exactly what
election
he's doing.
on his costly budget.
hold on, it was right here.
Mark Carney needs a costly costly election
That's
on his
exactly what he's
costly budget to distract from all of his broken promises. Let's recap them quickly. He promised to have the fastest G7 economy. He promised to have the fastest growing economy in the G7.
Today,
He's delivered the
Junior.
fastest shrinking economy in the G7. He promised to double home building. Home building is expected now to drop by 13%, according to his own housing agency. He promised he'd be judged by the prices at grocery stores. They're rising twice as fast as the Bank of Canada's target. And 7% more Canadians will go to food banks this year than last. In fact, food prices have risen so much that there's 100% more food bank demand than there was in 2019 before COVID. He promised that he could handle Donald Trump. That's a quote. Another quote, that he would negotiate a win, that he would have a deal by July 21st. No deal, no win, no elbows, no jobs. In fact, President Trump has since doubled tariffs on Canadian goods, and Mr. Carney has now embarrassed all Canadians by apologizing for an ad that he had earlier approved. His weak leadership forced provinces to step up with their own campaigns to reach the Americans. And after they did that, and Mr. Carney approved of it, he then went groveling and offering an apology, with the result being no deal, no wins, and Canadians are losing their jobs. We cannot trust Mark Carney abroad, and we cannot afford him at home.
He just doesn't have it. He doesn't have that.
I guarantee you, if I showed that to an American friend of mine that doesn't follow Canadian politics whatsoever, that probably knows Mark Carney because he's the prime minister, probably heard Pierre Poilievre because he's been around long enough to, okay, I know those names, but without telling them who they are, which one would you vote for, just judging by 2 clips. I could literally
Yeah, I
clip
vote for Carney.
the first
Based on
15
touchdown?
seconds of Carney and the
sure.
first 15 seconds of Pierre Poilievre. Which one seems more like a confident leader? And I hate to say it. I hate to say what I'm saying, but a guy like Carney sounded confident in his answer, even though he was surprised by it.
It's undeserved confidence, but it's confidence.
Yeah.
It's there. He's very convinced of his own abilities in a way that Pierre clearly is not. And, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of that is just image and branding and posturing. But in politics, that stuff does matter. Optics are huge in politics. A person who, because, you know, not everyone gets into the weeds of the policies. Like, you know,
Exactly.
They look at a few clips and they say, well, that guy seems like he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, I mean, I'll vote for that. Look at this guy. He's stumbling over his words. He just doesn't have that oomph, doesn't have that it factor. Why would I vote for that guy? Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, man. He if I were him, I'd be much I actually would not. I don't think it's in the Conservatives' interest to have an election right now. And I would be much stronger in putting it on the Liberals now, saying like, look, we don't want an election. We don't think Canadians want it. You know, let's see what the budget has to say, but or the budget looks like. But you know, we're going to do everything that we can to not have an election. And you know, I think we had talked about this last week, where Carney's probably going to. I've read some stories in the National Post over the weekend that confirmed what we were saying. Basically, he's put some poison pills into this budget that'll make it almost impossible for the Conservatives to pass it. Because he wants this election. He clearly does. I hope it backfires on him, but I don't know. Yeah,
I don't think so, man.
I don't have a ton of faith in Poilievre's ability. The other thing too is it put Poilievre in the hot seat. I mean, maybe that's the silver lining. Is maybe this is what gets rid of Poilievre. If he loses again, you know, maybe even the Conservative Party says, "Okay, we got to go in a different direction."
It's like I've been saying all week. Pierre Poilievre is in the hot seat. Next week, on the 4th, on Tuesday, is going to be a massive test to his leadership, because whatever he does, he's screwed. He either votes against it, creates an election, gets absolutely hated by the Liberal voters for putting them in the voting booth on Christmas or around Christmas when they're on vacation. They want to spend time with their family. So, right, it's brilliant. The plan to have this is not a coincidence that they're having a budget on November 4th.
Carney's great at politics. He's terrible at leading, but he's great at politics. Like the actual, the art of winning an election. Of course, that's nothing to do with, that's a completely separate skill. But
it's brilliant.
Leading the country.
Putting it on November 4th, poisoning it to make sure that that the Conservatives don't have a choice to vote against it. So Poilievre is screwed no matter what. It's absolutely, I hate to admit it, but it is absolutely brilliant what they're doing. They are putting it all on Pierre Poilievre. They know he's weak. No matter if he's controlled opposition, like I believe that he is, no matter if he's not, he's been weak from the get-go. And now they're able to manipulate him, because no matter what he does, he's going to be hated. There's not a lot of people, even on the Conservative side, that wants an election around Christmas. It's not that they don't want an election. They don't want an election around Christmas, because now that's going to overtake their whole vacation. That's going to overtake everything that they have to, that they want to not do, to like kind of disconnect from the world, spend time with their family. Now it's going to be eaten up by politics. So no matter what he does, if he votes against it, we're going to an election. If he votes for it, the Conservatives are like, how the fuck can you approve? Because it's estimated now that the deficit's going to be like $100 billion. It's the estimate. But no, the only thing that could literally save his ass is if the NDP or the Bloc votes in favor of the budget. But remember what they've been
balloon the deficit enough for the NDP.
Yeah,
it's like there's not enough money wasted on nonsense in this budget.
But if you look at what they've been doing, is absolutely smart, because from what they've been saying, they haven't been sitting down with the opposition leaders to really discuss the budget with them. That's a complaint that you heard from the
Yeah.
opposition is that they met with them, but the conversation didn't really go anywhere.
Because
Like,
they don't want the budget to pass.
that's
right?
my
And-
point exactly.
I mean, yeah, like you're saying, it's intelligent maneuvering by Carney. It's terrible for the country, right? That he's putting us through another election just so he can, get a majority, so they can really ram through his agenda. Here's a good comment. So Sheridan Forbes says, now is a perfect time for Pierre to seize power. The people are pissed off. Nothing better than gaining a rise of power with the people behind you. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Carney, it's a smart move by Carney, but Poilievre has some moves here, right? He can either just pass the budget, even though it will be very unpalatable to many conservatives, with the thing saying this budget's terrible, but we really don't want to inflict another election on the Canadian people. He could do that. If they just decide they just can't pass it, he needs to go on the offensive now. He needs to start talking in a much stronger tone about what Carney hasn't done, things that he hasn't gotten to deal with our largest trading partner. He also, I think he should be running on the whole. No, we actually don't want to be cutting ties with America and forging closer ties with China. I don't think that's a thing that most Canadians want. Even the ones that might be pissed off in this moment because of tariffs or Donald Trump. That's still most Canadians have an understanding of whatever you think about America. They're still our big brother, right? And to just we complain about them all the time. We're ungrateful and disrespectful in a lot of ways. But to just cut ties the way Carney seems to want to and really just basically make China our new America, I think there's a lot of Canadians who don't want that.
Yeah, but at the same time, man, this is the thing. No matter how you see it, do you see Pierre Poilievre as a real leader that's trying to do the right thing for Canada? Because if he really cared about Canada and he was there to save Canadians, to be the knight in shining armor that most Pierre Poilievre believers want, he would be destroying Carney already. Simple message. Let's make a deal with the US. We don't want another election because it's going to cost Canadians $600 million. But guys, can you imagine if instead of sending all that money overseas, we would have kept it in Canada? Like, he has all the opportunities to just say, you know what, guys, what's $600 million to get a new government that will work for you? There's so many ways that he can push that. And to say it out loud, guys, they're gonna trap us. Right now, this is the situation. They want us to vote against the budget. Cut to the clip I just showed of Mark Carney laughing, then come back. This man is trying to play you, but I will not let him do that. So yes, we will vote down the budget because you guys deserve better. You deserve a leader that will be there for Canadians. We will make a deal with Trump. We will stop the carbon tax. That EV mandate is going to the garbage. We will not, just like he has about 5-10 points. Use what Carney's doing against him. The trip that he just came back from, even the CBC couldn't find one single deal that he signed. He didn't do shit when he was overseas. Nothing. He signed a defense deal with South Korea. Who the fuck cares about South Korea?
There's two aspects to what Poilievre's strategy should be. One is narrative. The other is policy. Narrative is what you were saying. Look, Carney's trying to play you guys for fools. He's trying to force us in here with this poisoned budget to force another election. And you know what? We don't want it, but he's forcing our hand. And with your help, we're going to make him regret it, kind of thing. That's your narrative. And then your policy is, we're going to make deals. I wouldn't even say make deals with Trump. I'd say we're going to make deals with our biggest trading partner. Speak in terms of America, not in Trump, because obviously Trump doesn't have a great. It has a branding issue up here in Canada. And then just other than that, it's the things that we've been talking about really since the last election. Be vocal about how you're going to build infrastructure, energy export capacity on both coasts, how you're going to ram through pipelines, how you're going to get rid of Bill C-69. You're going to put Canadians back to work. I mean, if he loves slogans, there's a slogan for you. This idea that, look, the tariffs are going to bite hard. They really haven't bitten that hard yet. We have been protected to some degree by the Kuzma agreement. I think it's entirely possible that Trump scraps that at some point. So there is going to be a lot, unemployment's going to get higher. So and honestly, part of leadership is preparing your people for tough times ahead. Poilievre should be saying that. And that will in some ways inoculate the Conservatives for if they win when it does happen. Because if not, the Liberals say, look, the Conservatives got in power and unemployment went up to 10%. But if Pierre says, no, this is going to happen, but here's what we're going to do to combat it. We're going to put 1 million Canadians back to work, building pipelines, developing the Ring of Fire. And I see Kenzie.
I want to. I know. Hold on.
Saying, I'm almost done here. Saying like, I know that he says these things I'm sure if you could find everything he's saying, he's probably said one of them. He's probably said them once somewhere in a speech somewhere. But one thing we've always said is you got to have. Poilievre talks he's got 1 million talking points, and he's just going on. He checks the list. Once he talks about developing Ring of Fire, then you don't hear about it again. The fact is, no, I don't listen to every Poilievre speech, but I probably listen to more than the average Canadian, and I don't hear him say those things. So just the fact that I don't hear it means most Canadians don't hear it. He needs to have 2 or 3 main points and fucking hammer the shit out of those points again and again and again and again until we're all sick of it. That's how you win.
That's just social media marketing right there. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not complicated.
It's propaganda 101, and that's
Yep.
and you can, and that's why it works.
So Kenzie,
I never heard it.
no, but I agree with you that he says those things. I'm not debating the fact that he's saying those things, but he's not confident. That's the whole point I'm trying to make, is that 1, he's not likable, 2, he doesn't believe it, and 3, he's not confident in what he's saying. That's the whole point I'm trying to pass here. He can do all the interviews that he wants and talk about it every now and then. He does not want an election. Why? Because he knows he can't fucking win. It's either 2 possibilities, because his role is to be controlled opposition, or let's play devil's advocate and he's not controlled opposition. He knows he can't win. Mark Carney's literally laughing in his face.
Well, and I think he's
laughing at the fact.
I think it's comfortable.
But that's my point.
Opposition. I don't even think he wants to
no,
take the
and that's
risk.
That's the impression he gives me too. So that's the point I'm trying to make, Kenzie. I'm not saying that he hasn't said all the right things. He does say the right things, but he doesn't believe them. Let me ask you that. Do you believe in Pierre Poilievre? Like, when you listen to the guy, do you believe that he cares about Canadians? Do you believe that he wants Canada to do better, that he is the person to help Canada go back 10 years? Do you honestly believe that he believes it? Because I don't. I've never believed that guy from the get-go. He's always speaking talking points that are memorized, that never come from the heart. And that is the biggest problem that I see. He is just a weak leader that does not care. That guy's so far detached from what being a commoner is that he doesn't resonate with us. At least, again, Kenzie, I feel you, bro. I feel what you're saying. But do you believe in his speech? The speech I just showed, I played almost 2 minutes, and that was a speech of today. I was listening to it in the car coming back from shopping earlier, and I'm just like, that my kid's in the back, my wife's in the back with the kid, and she's just like, oh yeah, daddy does not really like this guy, because I had it playing over the Bluetooth, like I had it on my cell phone playing in the background on the Bluetooth system, and my wife is making fun of what I think of Pierre Poilievre to my 3-month-old son, just like, yeah, daddy, because I'm just swearing. I'm like, are you kidding? When are you gonna man up? What the fuck is wrong with you? So that's the point I'm trying
the first word,
to say.
the first words that he says. Poilievre is weak.
But again, this is the thing. It is such. Imagine that politics is real. Imagine that we still have a choice. I don't think it is true. I think it's controlled opposition. I think I'm pretty clear about this. But let's play devil's advocate and let's say that our votes really matter. Can you imagine a better time than a confident conservative could ever wish for than right now? You have a Liberal Party that wants you to vote against them, that is doing everything possible for their budget to be voted down so that there's another election. They just don't want to trigger it themselves.
Yeah, which is I mean, it's bad for Canada. It's
they don't care about that.
It's unfortunately smart politics. It's good in that sense. But I think part of the narrative Poilievre has to do, whether they decide to oppose the budget or not, they need to start putting this on Carney now and start being, look, we don't want this. Even if they decide to reject the budget and trigger an election, it needs to be, look, basically the narrative should be, we're doing this against our own will. We don't want to do this. Mark Carney's trying to play us all for fools. Sheridan says, Pierre's the best of the bad lot. You go with the army you have, not the army you want. I prefer Brock, but Pierre will have to do. Carney is gangster playing banker. Banksters won't end well. So, I mean, I'm going to, obviously, we're both kind of critical of Poilievre here, and, Nico more so than me, really. So just to say a few decent, I guess, or maybe hopeful things, correct in the sense that he's the guy that they have right now. And I'm tradition, I'm a liberal or liberal-minded, classical liberal. I'm not capital L liberal. I wouldn't vote liberal, but I would vote for Poilievre. I think of all the people running, he would be the one that I would want to win, just because I don't think he's going to fix a whole lot, but he certainly probably wouldn't make it any worse. So I guess to that extent, I get the desire not to shit on him because he's the guy there now, and you really want Carney to lose and the Liberals to lose, and I feel you. But I think I don't know. I don't know that he's the guy for the job. And maybe if there's a silver lining to an election where the Libs do win, even win a majority, it's that maybe this clears the decks for someone else who, because at the end of the day, I see Poilievre is probably going to lose another election before he's gone. And maybe it's better to have that 3 months from now than 4 years from now.
It's just, man, the Liberals with a majority is a scary thought.
Because
that means C2, C8, C9, and the new C63 pass without opposition. That is scary. Oh, that scares the shit out of me, because that means I need to leave Canada. But before you go, Kenzie, the whole point of this, and this is the whole point I'm trying to make here. Let's say that I believe Pierre Poilievre. Let's say that I believe that everything he's saying, he means it, that he wants what's best for Canada. I like to play devil's advocate to prove my point. Let's say that I do believe that. Why is he not doing everything possible right now to set up the election to say, you know what? The Liberals are trying to trap us. If they want another election, we will give it to them because we can win. I want to be the person that will fix Canada. I'm here to fix Canada. I care about you. Why is he not embracing it? And that's the part that pisses me off, is the fact that he does not have the stones to go for it. So he's either controlled opposition, which I know he is, but devil's advocate, he doesn't want an election because he's comfortable in his role as an opposition leader. So no matter what, it does not look good.
He's got a job.
It just does not look good. The optic is terrible. That's what drives me nuts about this guy, is that he has all the chances in the world to become prime minister if he really wanted to. But that would mean standing up for something, letting your balls drop, and for once in your life, stand up for what you know is right and stop listening to your handlers. Stop letting them tell you what you need to say and just fucking speak from the heart for once in your life.
Well, and I think, isn't one of his handlers, one of his top advisor, a woman he used to date or something? That's bad. That's bad idea just all around, because you start to make decisions based on, personal feelings and not what's, smart advice. Kenzie says, none of the Conservatives said they want election. It is not the time. The polls don't show they will win. It's ridiculous. Canadians can't see how bad Carney is, but Canadians can't see how bad Carney is yet, but they will. And that's exactly why the Liberals want an election, right? They want to lock in that majority because right now the economy it hasn't really gone down that bad yet. It's been shielded
No,
by the
not
tariffs,
yet.
but it's baked in. It will
Yeah.
happen 6-12 months from now, no matter who's in power, no matter what decisions get made today, because economics are often lagging real world events, right? Like
Yep.
the job loss, the tariffs that were put on 6 months ago, they'll cause job losses 6 months from now. So no matter what anyone does, that's going to happen. And people are going to start blaming the Liberals for it. People are going to start blaming Carney for it. And that's exactly why they want to lock in a majority for the next couple of years, because you do this time next year, and if they cause the budget to cause the government to fall by rejecting the next year's budget, I think most of those economic issues will have happened, and I think Canadians will see. I think that the atmosphere will be completely different. I think
Yep.
the Conservatives will probably win if they could force.
But it's
going to
be too
year
late
from now. But
It'll
yeah,
be too
if he
late.
gets a majority now, that's locked in 4 more years. And all those things you're saying, like Bill C, all the
C2,
bills-
C8, C9, C63.
Yeah, now, I mean, on the one hand, if writ is dropped and election happens, those all get canned. But if they get a majority, they can just bring those back, no problem.
Yeah.
One point that I hadn't thought of, but I'd seen on X was another reason Carney wants this election is remember that thing that passed last week where they're going to take a much deeper look into his conflicts of interest in Brookfield.
Of course.
That's gone too with an election, and with a
True.
majority,
Yep.
that won't happen again. That
Just
won't
like Trudeau did for what was it? SNC Lavalin, same thing. Same thing as he did with Aga Khan. You're able to get. That's what he did last time. He was getting looked into SNC Lavalin. He stepped down as the Liberal leader in order to avoid scrutiny, and the criminal case just got dropped last month. So you're right. I didn't think about this. I need to keep at least 10 minutes for the main topic of the day, because I didn't think we'd be talking about this for 50 minutes. But hey, this is no. I'm always happy about that. This is organic. JD28 is saying, if you do not have a plan to leave Canada, you don't have a plan, brother. I spent half my time in the US, and my wife has an Italian citizenship. So technically, there's a lot of places we can go. But that doesn't mean I want Canada to be fucked. Right? Even if I don't necessarily want to spend the rest of my life here, I would love Canada to go back to the Canada I grew up in the 80s and the 90s and even prior to that. And JD828 is making a valid point here. I like Poilievre, but he's too smug. Needs to speak freely and from the heart. And that is probably my biggest problem that I have with him. He's not a likable guy. I don't know how he is in person. I've never met him. I've been told by a lot of people that have spent time with him that he's a cool dude in person, but it does not translate on camera. It doesn't matter how you are behind closed doors. What matters is how you present in front of the camera, because the people will not meet you. And he's just smug. He's not likable. He seems very uptight. I'm clearly not a fucking fan. I think that's pretty fucking clear. But
yeah. I think most people who support
great
him,
opportunity that he has to do something if he has the confidence to do it, because Carney has done enough in the past 6 months to be completely destroyed if you have the balls to speak about the wrong that he's done. If you start approaching if you stop trying to please the left, the people that will never vote for you, and start saying that we need a deal with the US, our exports are worth $580 billion a year. We cannot afford to drop that. So the first thing I will do as Prime Minister, I will set all our tariffs that we have on the US to zero. I will drop the carbon tax, the industrial carbon tax. I will slash your income tax. I know that most average working Canadian pays 42% in taxes. I will cut that by that much. Screw the WEF. I will not sign. There's so many things he could do that would win it for him. He just is controlled opposition or doesn't have the balls to do it. Either way that you look at it, it's not good. It does not. What's the point of him being opposition if he will not take the role of really opposing their opponents? Because I'm telling you, next week he's shooting himself. He will have to shoot himself in the foot. No matter what he does, it's going to look bad on Poilievre, because he put himself in that corner.
Yeah, and when he talks about our relationship with the United States and Donald Trump. He really just needs to, I understand Carney certainly has that sort of Trump card to play, pardon the pun. Just he played it very effectively in the last election where he made it about Trump, and then, the Canadian public mindlessly went to the polls and voted for him. But like, he needs to get away from this making Trump the focal point. It's America that we're dealing with, not Trump. He needs to treat Trump like just a natural disaster. It's more like the narrative is, look, guys, I don't like it as much any more than you do. He's the president of the United States. This is the guy that we have to deal with. There's nothing we can say. Nothing is gained by insulting this man personally. We have, no, we're not going to bend over, but yes, we have to deal with him, and we have to come to the table in good faith, because the size of the U.S. economy and the size of our trading relationship with them leaves us no other choice. We don't have the luxury to be elbows up, is what he should be saying.
No. And let's be more self-reliant over starting now. We will reopen the floodgate for oil and gas. We will build pipelines. We will build refineries.
People
we
love
will
that message. Back to work, man. Fucking back to work.
That's it.
There's a great
Let's
comment here by David. Yeah, we'll just take this last one and then we'll move on. And actually, I think David might be a first-time commenter. Welcome, sir.
No, he's
he says
not.
this
Of
is
course not. Yeah,
no?
he has a fucking member badge right next to his name, numbskull.
Oh shit! Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Sorry, David.
David FL says this is not about Trump. Hammer that home. Exactly. It is 10 years of liberal policies. Have the balls to see that. Yeah, that's exactly completely right. And there's a chart that we played every day during the election where it shows our economy on a graph next to America's, and it went down with America's, up with America, and then they put Justin Trudeau's stupid face when he got elected in 2015, and immediately they diverged. America kept going up. Canada went stagnant. Show that. Put that thing on as many marketing materials as you can. Say this is what liberal policies have brought us. It's time for change.
See, even Kenzie admits that he does come across as smug, dense, tense, and arrogant. And David is saying that Carney's more smart. And nobody is arguing that. But you're not taking away the Carney voters. The real Carney voters are not going to vote for Pierre Poilievre, but the people like him will. The people like Rob will, that are like, I need something better than Carney. So you look at Pierre Poilievre. Imagine if Pierre Poilievre was likable. Imagine if he came across as likable on camera. How powerful that man could actually be. Because at the end of the day, man, if you vote for the lesser of two evils, most people with common sense will vote for Pierre Poilievre. Because at the end of the day, man, Pierre Poilievre's not a conservative. He is a liberal. He's the right side of the liberal spectrum, but he's still a liberal. He's not a conservative. He does not believe in abortion. He does not believe in religion. He's not here to reduce the size of government. He's a liberal. He's just liberal with a bit of a fiscal sense. He wants to maybe stop the bleeding, but he's not fixing Canada. Let's be honest here. He's not going to change fucking anything. He works for the same people Carney does. But imagine if he was likable for the average people. That could make him, that could make them vote for him. I just don't see it. So, guys, fucking love when those conversations last like 50 minutes when that was not the goal at all. But let me address at least, let's take like 12 minutes, 11 and a half minutes to speak about the main topic of the day, which is the new Supreme Court decision. I will let the video explain it, but what the this is, I don't care if you're leftist, you're rightist, you're somewhere in the middle. If this does not piss you off, you need to give your head a shake.
A controversial call as the Supreme Court of Canada rules 5-4 that the mandatory minimum sentence for possession
I can
of
pick
child
out which of the
pornography
five
isn't
voted for it.
constitutional.
Just by that picture.
But hold on, man. You're literally covering the story here. Hold on. You have to keep your comments for like 25 seconds in, because they already said what we want to say.
A controversial call as the Supreme Court of Canada rules 5-4 that the mandatory minimum sentence for possession of child pornography isn't constitutional.
When the courts look at...
They ruled 5-4 that minimum sentencing for having child pornography is unconstitutional. This is what the Supreme Court of Canada voted on. That it was unconstitutional, and this fucking twat right there is going to try to convince you that it is Check that fucking guy's laptop. If he believes it's unconstitutional, check that guy's laptop.
mandatory minimum sentences, they do not look at the offenses of the person who is charged with the crime.
Previous decisions mean the Supreme Court is allowed to look at hypothetical cases when judging constitutionality of the law. In this case, justices considered the possibility of an 18-year-old receiving explicit images from another 18-year-old of that second person's 17-year-old girlfriend. That first 18-year-old didn't ask for the image, but now possesses child pornography.
If there is a reason...
Hey, this is not the case here.
Well, yeah,
This
they
is
made
not-
that up. They made this hypothetical up.
But this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about kiddie porn here. We're talking about a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old kid that ends up on a 45-year-old man's laptop. We ain't talking about a 17 and an 18-year-old here. I'm pretty sure that those judges, if that ever makes it to court, are going to look at that and say, hey, what the fuck, man? Why are we even here? You do not change the complete law for the dumb fucking exceptions like those ones. We're talking about pedophiles here. We're talking about fucking predators.
Yep.
We ain't talking about the 18-year-old that has a 17-year-old
This
girlfriend.
Hypothetical edge case that didn't even actually happen. And the thing is it's just very that's hypothetical scenario is very easily fixed by prosecutors using just common fucking sense. And most laws, like statutory rape laws, have they're called like Romeo and Juliet exceptions. They're built in where, say, it's illegal to have sex with a woman or a girl under 16 unless it's usually 3 or 4 years in age, and then it's void. Same thing can be done here. It's not a problem. It's a very easy fix to make. You don't protect all the other fucking pedophiles for this very easily fixed issue that didn't even fucking happen. It's and even if it did, then that person can come to the Supreme Court with the actual case, and the Supreme Court can rule if they had sense. Oh yeah, no, that law doesn't apply to this, which is clearly a different situation. It's like they expect us all to be like morons and not have any sense of context or nuance. Everybody understands the difference between an 18-year-old getting a titty shot from a 17-year-old girlfriend and a 45-year-old man accessing nudes of a 10-year-old child, and they're pretending like the average human can't figure out the difference. And it's an insult to our intelligence of every Canadian. And you know what's most disturbing is just the mindset that has to go into this. Like, it'd be one thing if it was like a loophole that just kind of accidentally happened, that it was like a law was made and no one really realized, but you had to go out of your way to be like, you know who we really need to protect? Fucking pedophiles. Those are the people that we really need to protect today. And that's what these judges did. They went out of their way to protect pedophiles. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Check their laptops.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
And anybody that agrees with this, anybody that doesn't think that it should be a way higher mandatory minimum for the people that are caught with that type of images on their laptops, check their laptops. Check their fucking laptops. Because to me, it's self-preservation. And, before, I'll take 1 minute because I saw a bunch of comments saying Pierre Poilievre did stand up to that. I do have... He stood up twice. I have the one for the CBC because I thought it was cleaner.
Ruling is wrong-headed, and I would oppose the ruling, and I would use the notwithstanding clause to overturn it. And my future government will introduce mandatory prison sentences for possession of child pornography so that dirtbags like this go away for a very long time.
Some of the reasoning from the justices was that they could see a scenario where two 18-year-olds exchange images and then have a mandatory minimum imposed on them. I don't know what you make of that.
No, because you have to be found guilty to get it in the first place. No one's saying just be just being accused of it. Like no one would find an 18-year-old guilty in that scenario.
No.
I think the Supreme Court needs to get away from these imaginary scenarios. The
Exactly.
scenario before them was two men in possession over a long period of time of hundreds of images and videos that were made by torturing innocent children. And with those facts in front of them, their conclusion actually should have been that the sentence should have been much more than the 1 year and 9 months that the two dirtbag offenders received. They should go away for a very long time. Frankly, if I had my way as a father, I would lock them up and throw away the key.
I mean, credit where it's due. That's
why I'm playing it. As much as I hate on Pierre Poilievre, I will always give credit where credit is due. I agree with him on this case. He doesn't go far enough, but I understand that he still needs to be more politically correct than I am, because as a father, that guy wouldn't make it to prison. I'm just saying. He would not. Have you seen the video? I can't show that video because this will definitely get the channel banned. But do you remember, I think it was in the 80s or the 90s, there was this guy that was involved.
At the
I think it was Marsh. Yes.
He was at the payphones, and then the guy that molested his kid walked behind him. Boom. Yeah. Father of the year, man. Absolute father of the year.
If I was on the jury of that guy, innocent. I didn't see anything wrong. What happened? Innocent. Innocent, completely.
Hey, how do we know that was really him? How do we know that was really him?
AI.
Yeah, it was AI. He had to disguise in the video, and I just don't think that was him.
No.
And honestly, I mean, he still had his kind of like politician speak, but I feel like I detected.
That's how he is. But that's how he is, though.
No, but yeah, I know. But I feel like I detected a little bit of like something that came from the heart there.
He's a father.
Because he is a father, right? And something that was, a little bit of fire, just a little bit of fire in his belly there, for Poilievre at least.
Yeah. But I'm kind of surprised though that he's because he's been on CBC quite a few times recently. Have you noticed? That kind of surprises me because they normally don't really have conservatives on there.
No, and I've seen that interview around. I haven't watched the full thing, but it seems like the audience has seen it. What do you guys think of it? Because it seemed to me like the clips I saw seemed some more or less a pretty typical kind of fair interview. It it didn't seem overly biased. It's CBC, so you have to it's got to be relative. Of course, it's always going to have a little bit of liberal bias to it, but it seemed like she was actually trying to just do what journalists are supposed
let him answer.
Just ask him fair questions and let him answer, because the whole point is they're supposed to get the Canadian people to hear what their politicians think.
This is a great comment by Mitch Warner. I think that's your first time, never seen you before.
True, eh?
What's going on, man? So why are we censoring the internet in Canada? Isn't it to protect children? Exactly.
Yeah.
We censor the internet, but not. We don't want to put the criminals
we've got to
in
censor
jail.
the internet to protect children, but we just struck down laws banning child porn. Oh yeah, but don't worry about that. I mean, that's
don't
not those children.
And even Daniel Smith came up pretty strong, saying that it was absolutely ludicrous. The minimum sentencing should demand the minimum mandatory should be so much higher.
Where's Dougie on this? What's Dougie saying?
Dougie's hiding his laptop. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what I'm talking about. This is all for entertainment purposes. But how is Mark Carney not speak? The fact that Mark Carney's not speaking about that either, that's problematic.
I find that, like, why is this shouldn't be a partisan issue? We should all be against child pornography, right? None of us should be against pedophiles. Or none of us should be for pedophiles.
Yeah. Whoa. I don't agree with Rob.
But it seems like, the mainstream political left, like, they're either just silent on it, or you'll often hear some of them will actually put on full-throated defenses of pedophiles, right? You know how you've seen them try to rebrand them as MAPS, minor attracted persons, right? Because it sounds better. Like, well, we can't stigmatize the we don't want to put stigma on the pedophiles. Yes, we do. We do. We want
they
to
were
put
born that way.
Stigma. Yeah, we want to put
born that way.
And even if that were true, it doesn't matter, right? Like, some people are born just pure evil. That's irrelevant. We should still remove them from society as soon as we can.
Who matters most, the kids or the criminals or the pedophiles?
The criminals.
No, but
of course. I
mean, it's a pretty bad society when you value the criminal more than you do your youth, than you do your children.
And that's the mainstream modern current iteration of the political left in a nutshell. And that's why there's a lot of, common sense liberals like myself who are having a real hard time reconciling, what are our classical liberal beliefs with what we see right now coming out of the mainstream political left.
Yeah, it's. I think I agree. Where did I see that? Richard Pierce is saying that CBC is trying to fix their image, and I think you're right. I think they've been called out so much in the past few years that they're always going to be very leftist.
Sure.
But I don't think you can expect that to change.
I think
but
if they
just
can
to
get
have
down
him
to
on
like,
is kind of surprising.
I think if they can get down to like a 55-45, bias, I think most people will be okay with that. It's just lately, when I say lately, I mean maybe the last 20 or 30 years, it's just been much more than that, maybe 70-30 or something, but it's just been a much more obvious bias. Wise Guy said, I also noticed that Rosemary gave Carnage a very hardball interview as well. I have a feeling
she forgot what happened last time.
Yeah. She needs to look inside herself again. But I mean, at the end of the day, the CBC also, they understand where their funding comes from. It comes from the government. And at some point, it's not going to be a liberal government anymore. And maybe they see the writing on the wall.
I have a feeling that Pierre Poilievre will be our next prime minister based on how CBC spinning it these days. That's the rest of the comment. And, yesterday on the mashup, I'm just going to finish on that, but yesterday on the mashup, some of the guys said that they wouldn't be surprised if Pierre Poilievre wins because if you believe, like me, that both sides are two parts of the same bird, they're two wings of the same bird, that we have a uniparty, that they all work for the same masters overseas in Europe, it doesn't really matter who's in power because they're all going to push the same agenda, that is to serve their one world government. If that's what you believe in, you wouldn't be surprised that Pierre Poilievre would become the next prime minister to make us believe that we still have a chance. Because if you're noticing we all agreed on that yesterday, that it seems like there's pushback. The 2030, 2035 agenda, like the WEF 2035 agenda, we all heard about that. Mm-hmm. It's not going to plan. It seems like since COVID, a lot of people have woken up and more people are criticizing. Just look at what happened with Bill C-8 in Canada, or Bill C-2, sorry, in Canada. They retabled it with another bill, literally removing 99% of the bad stuff from it. Just because people are like, yeah, no. So it seems that Canadians are pushing back.
Has an effect.
So maybe that you are right, that he will become prime minister to give us the illusion that our choice matters. And that's what some of the guys were saying yesterday. I like the idea because I could see that as just I kind of a gimme. Okay, commoners, here's a small win for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily believe that they're controlled in that way. I don't think Pierre takes marching orders. I could get on board with the controlled opposition argument if it's more like they just, the people who actually say are pulling the strings behind the scenes of, say, the Conservative Party, they know what they have in Poilievre, and they know that he will be, like, they don't have to explicitly give him orders. They just know that by putting him in this position, they will get their agenda passed or pushed. They know, I think he's weak. He's not going to do anything that would be counter to their agenda. And the final comment, I was just going to say,
we'll have one more after, a super fast one.
Okay, this can one moment says, I'm conservative. Can anyone give me one good reason why I should vote for Carney? Nope.
No.
Not going to find that here. I don't think you can. I mean, I'm liberal, and you're not going to find it for me.
Negative, bro.
Negatory.
Thanks for your comment. If this was your first time, this is the perfect opportunity to tell everybody that's listening. Make sure to like, make sure to comment, obviously. Subscribe if it's your first time showing up to the YouTube channel. You like what we're doing, make sure to subscribe. If you're on X, join us at the Political Orphans on the YouTube channel and join the conversation. Join the comment. We go live Sunday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We always take a shit ton of comments. Half the time is spent on stories. Not even today. I would say like 45% of the show was just interacting with the comments. At the end of the day, that's why we do it live, right? Because we got a balls to interact with our commenters, agree or disagree. Just today, you could see that we weren't agreeing on everything. That's the whole point of civil discourse. And Devil's Due, I'm just going to finish with that. Did you show Bill Gates' comment? Are you talking about his walking bat, the climate agenda,
change,
saying that?
No big deal after all. No big deal after all.
Yeah, we should do, when there's going to be a slow day, like a slow news day, we should make an episode on that just to show how hypocritical it is. But this was coming. You know that if Greta Thunberg actually saw this coming and moved to the Free Palestine bandwagon, you know that nobody cared about climate change anymore. Unfortunately, our liberal government, Mark Carney, is still pushing this shit. Because he did say while he was in China that, hold on, let me use his own words here. Carney said that China and Canada are two countries that share the same climate change ideology. And their defenders from the liberals are saying, oh, per capita, Canada is the second biggest producer of carbon in the world. Hey, asshole, we have the second biggest country on the planet. No, we're the second biggest country on the planet with the 37th largest population with 40 million people. China produces over 30%. We produce 1 point something, and I disagree that we're producing 1%. With the amount of trees that we have, we are carbon zero already. Fucking twat.
At the end of the day,
twat.
Per capita this is a idiotic use of per capita in this context because it doesn't matter. It's not the per capita percentage. Even if you believed everything about the climate change narrative that carbon is going to cause warming, it's not per capita. It's the overall number. And like you said, Canada, even the official numbers is 1% of the overall number. In other words, a drop in the fucking bucket. China, on the other hand, is what, 45, 50% of the
30,
world?
around 30-ish, yeah.
Okay, that's still enormous. The single largest emitter. And Mark Carney, with a straight face, said that China really cares about the environment and climate change. It's not just carbon emissions. Like they have almost zero environmental regulations. When they build mines, they just fucking destroy the place. They're dumping chemicals and into rivers. Like they don't give a shit about the environment. And that's one of the main arguments. That's one of their brands. That is one of their marketing materials. Make your shit in China because we don't give a fuck what you do with your toxic sludge. You can pour it down rivers for all you care about. But if you make it in Canada, where you're from, or the United States, you've got to deal with all this red tape, all these environmental regulations. Why do it? Just make it here. And Mark Carney, with a straight face, said China. What a terrible indictment of Canada to say that we have shared values on the environment. Are you fucking kidding me? China doesn't give two shits about the environment, and they don't give two shits about emissions. No. It's like that ridiculous thing he said a while back, where we need to have a tax on carbon, or China won't trade with us. What? China is the worst emitter. They don't give two shits about if Canada has a price on carbon.
No, definitely not.
Yes. All right, guys, we're gonna put a pin in there. Excellent show. As always, lots of comments, lots of new faces. As Nico said just a few minutes ago, please like and share the stream. If you are new, this is what we do. We engage with the audience. I am a anti-woke liberal, a common sense one. There's still a few of us. Nico is on the other side. He's a conservative, but the show is, of course, designed to show that common sense people from all over the spectrum can still get together and have productive common sense discussions, find common ground where we can, and respectfully disagree when we can't. If you support the show, if you support what Nico and I are doing, please consider becoming a member. You can do that through YouTube, or you can also support us by buying us a coffee, which is in the QR code in your top right-hand screen. Other than that, guys, tune in tomorrow, and let's have a great week. We'll be here tomorrow, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you then.
Peace.